Hello, hello. Welcome to the Lorethrough. Today we are tackling episode 98, and it might be a biggin, but we're going to try to go fast and clear through a good amount of content so that by the time we hit episode 100, I can properly do a recap episode. So let's talk with Bernal here, since we helped him with that assassination contract, and see what he has to say.
I had hoped you'd soon return. I have the reward from Lady Tanith. Take it. It's yours, by right.
Gelmir's Fury. So that is the third of the lava sorceries.
Let us tread the path of the recusant together, till we reach the miserable death that awaits us.
So, Bernal, being an edgelord, is just doing this so he can die, from the sounds of it. He's yet to meet, and he seems to not just want to die, but he wants to die in glorious combat, but he seems to be focusing on the dying part. Let's see if he has anything else to say.
You're still alive, I see. Well, until we meet again.
Alright, so that's all he has to say for now. Let's take a look at that sorcery we just found. Alright, Gelmir's Fury. One of the sorceries developed from the magma of Mount Gelmir. Conjures a surge of magma from the earth, covering the area. Charging extends the surge of magma. This sorcery is held to represent the fury of the volcano, but the arrogance of attempting to harness it is solely that of men and serpents. So it's a little bit different than the other two. Kind of interesting. But still, one of three lava sorceries. And Magma Shot takes 10 faith, 15, and 12 faith. So, interesting. If you're using the Mount Gelmir staff, they might be okay. I don't know. I haven't used them, actually. Let alone in PvP. I almost want to make a Magma Wizard. At some point, I do plan to make a character that will be a hybrid of Int and Faith. I'm just trying to find a good way to do it, because there's only like one weapon that scales fairly well with both of those, the Sword of Night and Flame, and honestly, it seems better that you pick one direction or the other for the sake of stat investment. Anyway, we have some death roots to give to Garank, so let's see what he has to say about that. We can hand him 2 of these bad boys. They're probably getting a little moldy, though.
My thanks, tarnished. Death, my sin, should not be touched by the hand of man. I shall grant thee my claws. Feed me more.
So he gives us the Stone of Garank and Beast Claw. So he says that death should not be touched by man. Here are my claws, as if we could grow a set of claws and pick it up gingerly by those additional points instead of using our actual hand. Kind of silly. But let's take a look at what he has given us. Alright, Stone of Garank, superior incantation taught by Garank, the Beast Clergyman. Hurls a boulder before the caster. This incantation can be cast repeatedly. Long ago, Garank was a beast of such terrifying ferocity that his former name meant Death of the Demigods. Interesting. Incantation taught by Garank, the Beast Clergyman, creates beast claws that rend the land with shockwaves. Charging enhances potency. This incantation represents the fury of Garank. His bestial excuse me. His bestial nature returned as much as it does his relentless agitation. So, interesting that his former name meant Death of the Demigods. Kind of interesting. We know that there's some sort of tie between him and Malekith, the Black Blade, who had the Rune of Death when a piece of it was stolen, right? And given that he had the Rune of Death, he was probably the proverbial Grim Reaper of the world, to a degree, that Malekith figure that we know so little about. But Garank was once known as the Death of the Demigods, so that's fairly interesting. I'm trying to think, do we know anything else about demigods dying that we could reasonably tie together? And I'm thinking of a weapon. It's a greatsword. It's a colossal greatsword, actually. Sacred Sword of the Glowmide Queen, who controlled the Godskin Apostles before her defeat at the hands of Malekith. The Black Blade wielded by the Apostles are channeled from this sword. And the Godskins, God slaying. Interesting. So Malekith had the Rune of Death, probably the proverbial Grim Reaper of the world. Geraint was also known as Death of the Demigods. Interesting. And then there's also the Glowmide Queen and her Godskin Apostles who seem to skin demigods. So there's a whole cadre of god slaying that we probably need a little more context to understand. Wondering if the Black Flame will give any. Let's see. Black Flame incantation of the Godskin Apostles. Black Flame is weighty. After dealing damage, it continues to sap HP for a time. The Black Flame could once slay gods, but when Malekith sealed destined death, the true power of the Black Flame was lost. Once a sign of the god's wrath, this incantation became a trophy of the noble's god hunt. And maybe the Godslayer Talisman will offer a little bit of context. Maybe not. Maybe this is a dead end for now and we just need more information presented elsewhere. But let's take a look. Sacred Seal of the Godskin Apostles, inlaid with obsidian, said to represent the manipulation of Black Flame. This catalyst enhances Godslayer incantations. And let me see here. Godskin Apostle Hood. Hood made by sewing together patches of smooth skin, worn by the Godskin Apostles. The Apostles, once said to serve destined death, are wielders of the god-slaying Black Flame. But after their defeat by Malekith, the Black Blade, the source of their power was sealed away. So it seems that destined death was once in possession of the Glowmide Queen to some extent. And Malekith was the one who essentially took that away from them and defeated them. Interesting that Geraint is also known as Death of the Demigods in that sense. And Malekith here, the reason why I'm drawing that connection between Geraint and Malekith so tenuously is because we had a Black Flame Gargoyle, or one of the Black Corpse Wax Gargoyles, Black Flame Kindred or whatever they're called, outside guarding Geraint, and all of the Vulgar Militiamen also use that same Black Flame. The Black Flame connected to the Rune of Death that's even used on the knife used by the Black Knife Assassins. So, not a whole lot we can do there. There's some tie between Malekith and Geraint. Maybe Geraint served Malekith at one point in time, given that Malekith seemed to be in cahoots with Queen Marika, and we know Geraint has mentioned Marika a few times. Maybe they both served her. Okay. But that's all we know for now. Now we are going to work our way to the Avenue Balcony, and we are going to go into the depths of Leyndell. I know we're putting off slaying the boss of Leyndell, going to that boss room, but it's for a good cause. Trust me on this one. So we're going to run down here. And over here specifically. We already got the beetle from last time that gave us the lightning strike incantation. I don't know if I ever read that incantation, actually. I'll read it once I get down and away from the baddies. So there's all these Albinaurics in this shady part of the town. But you can hop down here into this well. And here we see the body through the grate we could not open before. Let me look for that incantation. Oh, it was not an incantation. That's probably why I didn't read its description. I think it's an Ash of War. Was it Thunderbolt? Yeah, I think it was Thunderbolt that we got from the beetle up there. Thunderbolt, skill used by the capital's ancient dragon cult. Raise armament aloft to call down a bolt of lightning, can be fired in rapid succession. It's a pretty good Ash of War. Great for cleaning up kills, since it comes out very quickly and suddenly. It does very well if your weapon is already lightning infused. It hits a little harder. In fact, there's situations where if you're just using it for its Ash of War, even if you're not a dex build, it is a good idea to have it lightning infused anyways, even if you're like a strength build or something. So there are rats down here. a little lower area we can't get to. Not yet, anyways. There are more rats in the dark. I don't think we'll pay them too much heed. Oh, I probably should, actually. I was like... if I try to open the door, then they'll all just group up. And that'll create a bigger problem for myself. Yeah, you can switch talismans while opening doors. I didn't know that. It's kind of neat. Reminds me of how... oh, there's an omen. And this omen is unlike omen we've seen in the past, because he has curly, gnarled horns. See that? Kind of like Margit the Fell way back at the beginning of the game. Normally, when we see omen topside, their horns have been cut short. Ooh, he can see us because of our... sorry, he can see us because of our light. So we weren't being very sneaky. Okay, that deals with him. I very much would like to get through this area while not resetting as much as possible. So we will touch the grace. And this light source is going to linger for a bit. And for some reason the body's shattered again. Very odd. Okay. Alright, where do we begin with this area? I don't remember. I think I want to take the path off to the right. But I only want to pull one omen. Ooh, he is aware. Don't like that. Oh, he lost track of us, though. There we go. Whew. Sure, I'm glad we decided to go with the double pickaxe build. It's working. Alright, we get the blood-soaked manchettes and the blood-soaked mask, which is funny because the executioner, or the Inquisitor Giza, was wearing this in the top of the Volcano Manor. Okay. I think we are going to do a little bit of this, maybe? Might do this instead, actually. And we're going to try to conserve some resources. Yeah. Should do this as fast as I very well can, but I don't know how fast it's going to be. Oh. Maybe I'll use. You know what? I'll use a mana potion. I won't worry about the other part so much. Ooh. The bland crouch pokes because they get me my health back. You know what? We're going to use the health potion. We're not going to risk it. However... oh. Trying to think of the easiest way to kill this sucker. Might be just waiting for him to come to us, though. Well, that dealt with that one. getting through this area bit by bit. Curious to know if they'll fight each other. I guess not. There we go. Relatively slow portion, but we can kind of infer from the omen being down here in the sewers, and we already ran into Albinauric's finger creepers and rats of rodents of unusual size. We ran into those things down here. That they're the unwanted, the unmentionables. Now, it's kind of impressive that Lanedale has a sewer system. I guess it would need to have a seedy underbelly to make the city as clean and nice as it is. Using all my crystal darts here. Okay, I think we've taken care of a good amount of them imps. Oh! Guess there was another one. Okay. As much as I would like to hop down, I think I should clear out the area over here first. There is a reason for hopping down, but I do believe we want to swap back to this tasty build. Build, I say, this setup. Yeah, there he is. Okay. Oh, good. So we've taken him down. There's this statue here. Interestingly enough, it is a libation statue missing the jug. What's the symbolism of that? Are Omen deprived of the blessings of the Erd Tree? Probably, since they seem to be outside of its life-death cycle to some capacity. It's a horrible curse. Now, let's look at that incantation we just found. Incantation of the two-finger servant who once served as the assassins of the Round Table hold creates a pale gold shadow before the caster, luring foes of human build and attracting their aggression. This incantation can be cast while in motion or crouching and will still affect foes that are already in a combat state. It is said that those beguiled by the shadow see within it a hated foe. So we can't see what's in it, but they see something. Alright, I don't think there's a reason opening this, actually. In the scheme of things, but I digress. Alright. We shall get to it. So, there are some jumps to be made here. Do I have any of the stuff? Yep, soft cotton. So that lets you jump off of stuff and not take damage. Since it is a pretty far fall, you want to get onto this pipe and get onto the lower part of the pipe, if at all possible. Do I really not have any? Goodness. I think I'd be better prepared than that. It still hurt me. Well, best heal up. I'm going to use mana again. Darn it. Oh, I probably used that a little early. Oh, the grab. I wonder how much... Oh, shoot. Oh, this is miserable. Oh, dear. This means it's time for war crimes. Oh, maybe not. I should have known that would have killed me. Alright, we'll go fast to get over there. Maybe that's why we opened up the gate. Oh, to deal with the horrible, horrible creatures. Maybe it's better that I go deal with the right one and then the front one. I think we're on to something with that. use the soft cotton again. We're gonna go deal with the other monster. Come on. Okay, that time it seemed to have worked. Very odd. Yeah, so he gets alerted very early. Come on. Go. Well, there goes all that money. I guess I need a faster weapon or something. I was really hoping to break their posture, but it just wasn't happening. Well, I have another idea for them. I really shouldn't be having this much trouble with the lobsters, but... oh, it's just going to be that way, isn't it? Okay. New plan. That fire that they breathe out, though. It's that fire that's made out of vengeful spirits that we've seen from various other creatures. Like, oh, what are they called? They have the Wraithcaller bell. Revenants. Revenants have that sort of nonsense. And ulcerated tree spirits, when they're having a bad time, also have that. Okay. We'll pop one of these. Oh my gosh. It's just faster than you are if you try to use even a medium-sized weapon. Is this really the way it has to happen? That's so sad. But they're agitating. They're horrible monsters that are very unreasonable to deal with. I don't want to kill it like this. It's so lame. Really? Really, Glintstone Phalanx, you had to shoot right then and there? There we go. That's a one down. I do want to kill the other one. Get it to turn around first. There we go. There we go. That's what I wanted. Very much so. That's how the first one was supposed to go. But they just attack so fast. If you thought the crabs in this game were bad, oh my goodness. The lobsters are infinitely worse. There we go. Somber Smith and Stones all the way around. That little money pile, nothing. And Mog's Shackle. Interesting. We found a Margit Shackle before, but this is a Mog Shackle. A fetish bathed in golden magic. Shackles were used to bind the accursed people called the Omen, and these ones were made to keep a particular omen under strictest confinement. Though faint, the shackles still retain vestiges of power, enough to trap the once bound Mog on Earth, if only for a time. It's almost identical to the Margit one in terms of description. But this one's a lot bloodier, but they both have a golden rune on them. The golden rune could be an early Erdtree Elden Ring symbol, actually. So if we head down over here, we'll have a Site of Grace. And doggone it, we're probably going to rest at. Well, I'm not going to rest while I'm in the subterranean shunning grounds. Not that cool. Maybe one day. Not today, though. But we can head up this elevator. And we have a bunch of ghostlies around. But if we recall from the past that the Margit Shackle can dispel illusions, the Moog Shackle should be able to do much the same. And sure enough, we have all these places open. And we have a Spirit Caller that summons all these dudes in the area. And we also has the Haligdrake Talisman, which is Holy Resistance. Otherwise, those guys will just keep spawning infinitely. Kind of trivializes the thing. Kind of interesting that they're spirits of Lanedale soldiers, though. And now we can open up this. Which, if we look through, is where the libation statue was. Or the statue that should have been a libation statue, but had no jug. Alright. Now we can just go to the... I just had it. Lanedale Catacombs. I said we were going to get a lot done today, and so far that isn't proving the point. Okay. Is this sucker again? Switch back to my gold pickled foulfoot. Heck, we'll use it now. Why not get a couple kills with it? So we have a dungeon, another one. I've said I've refined my thoughts on these dungeons a little bit. I think I spoke on it briefly, but essentially I believe this place to be made by the culture that worship the twin birds, or the death birds. Since all the candles seem to be ghost flame candles, it seems that their whole hierarchy is based around cremation of the dead. It's always the grabby ones. The grab hitbox is a little odd feeling to me. There we go. Ghost Glove Ward. Actually takes a moment to lean down and grab it. Can I still have this sucker on my back? I can. Why not? I think because we used the Margit Shackle, this pillar over here has already been lowered. We can go up it, though. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. There we go. And we'll let that burn them to death. You can get real close without getting cut, or without getting burned. Cut. What's wrong with me? Mean-spirited creatures. Crucible Scale Talisman. Let's take a look at that. Haligtree Talisman didn't have much different. It doesn't have anything different to say from all the other elemental resist talismans. So it's just reiterating the same point that dragons are living walls of rock, essentially. Crucible Scale Talisman, though. A vestige of the Crucible of Primordial Life. Born partially of devolution, it was considered a signifier of the divine in ancient times, but is now increasingly disdained as an impurity, as civilization has advanced. said to have grown on the human body long ago. Ew. So, interesting. We go up here. Another one of these statues. And because it's not holding a libation jug, it makes me... And there's ghost flames. Makes me think that this is a different culture. A little bit. That there's some reuse of the statue for some reason. Almost like the Erdtree culture adopted the statue style in a sense in order to show forth their own legitimacy when they took over. Bunch of dead bodies. They have physics though. Oh man. Glintblade Phalanx with Impaling Thrust on a lance is such a great way to deal poise damage. Okay, so we come through here, and we've been down here before. This is where the dungeon starts to gaslight us. Now, if we were smart... Actually, yeah, if we go this way, I believe... the boss door is already open. And over here would be the Site of Grace. But the Site of Grace is missing. And so is the stairs up to the rest of the subterranean shunning grounds. The dungeon is gaslighting us. It's telling us we're crazy in an attempt to manipulate us. Now, why is it doing that? Couldn't tell you. But it is. It's being very rude about it. Oh, it's such a cost-effective way to kill them. The Yeomen are mean. Oh, another Warped Axe. In fact, I kind of want to show off the critical hit talisman, now I'm thinking about it. If you want to get close to your enemy, before the Glintblade Phalanx goes off, backstepping is the key. I'm clipping into the ground really far. That was really weird. There we go. Get a little bit of mana back, I don't know. And we find a golden rune in a fake boss room. There's all these alcoves. Just interesting architectural style through and through. And so because I talked about that the culture that built these originally didn't worship the Erdtree, I think these were added later. Especially when the roots of the Great Tree grew into these places. Oh, there's all the bodies that I ignored. I'm prone to doing that. Guess I don't need this anymore. Coming through here is another one of these. Did I really? Really shouldn't have. Put away the Market Shackle. Or the Moog Shackle, doesn't matter. Did that lower it? Yeah, it did. It's got great range. Oh, come on. I have the hardest time hitting these suckers. There we go. But now, there's a hallway to the side, where there wasn't before. Yeah, I'll just backstab him regular like. We can come down here. Which continues this silly little dungeon. You know, I really forgot about this dungeon when I said we were going to clear out a lot today. But that's on me. I did this to myself. Well, fine. Just going to spew stuff. Now we get to pull the crank. And backtrack to the dungeon. Or to the top of the... to where the door will open. You know what I'm talking about. Yep. All the way down here. Alright, who are we going to bring for our pal? Not Latenna. Bring our own elite fighting force. How's that? Ooh, I don't like that. Well. Ooh, I don't like that sort of damage. You haven't killed any of the dogs yet? Ooh, you can parry his Blood Blade ability. That's very silly. But Esgar, Priest of Blood, wearing the Sanguine Noble hat and a... sorry, Sanguine Noble robes and a hat we don't recognize, gives us the Lord of Blood's Exaltation, which is a talisman depicting the exaltation of the Lord of Blood. Raises attack power when blood loss occurs in the vicinity. Render up your offering of blood unto your lord. Drench my consort's chamber. Slake his cocoon's thirst. His awakening shall herald the dawn of our dynasty. Who have we known talking about dynasty? Well, Mohg, Lord of Blood. He's been referenced by Vare. And we actually found his shackle, by the sounds of it. So I guess that's him there, and it looks like he has a bunch of curling omen horns. Makes sense given the context of the dungeon. Okay, now we can go back to the underground roadside and continue our silly gallivanting adventure. Actually, I'm trying to remember if we've talked to the Dung Eater. Because we haven't talked to him, I don't think, since we found a Seedbed Curse, which is a weird lump of flesh with those curling, gnarled omen horns coming out of it. So let's talk to him about it.
No. Wait. You have felt the curse. I can smell it on you. The box, yet tender. Apparently my seedbed is ripe and waiting. 'Twas a brief respite, I must say. Go and unshackle my corporeal flesh, trapped in the sewer jail below the capital. I can kill you and defile your corpse. Then the pox will truly be your own.
Gross, dude. And don't think about buying me dinner first. It's not going to happen.
Go and unshackle trapped in this. I can kill in the pox.
Okay, so he wants us to go free his corpse. Or free his body down in the depths of the sewers. Is this a good idea? No. I would also, like the Volcano Manor arc, consider this not canon, but we're going to do it anyways to show off content. And I will need to show off a branching path with him as well. I think part of the recap episode will have that nonsense. But now we can head this direction. As long as you don't walk too close to the bones, you won't break them, because the bones make noise when you crunch on them on the ground. And that's what they can notice. What's my weapon of choice here? That feels like a good option. I should have put the, gonna say I should have put the warped axe away. It ruined my inventory makeup along with those talismans. Can't have a pretty inventory when you're doing a lore through, it seems. Those rats are just staring. They don't know what's going on. There we go. So we have a tunnel to go down. And a bunch of horrid flowers. Spew poison. And this one casts a spell. But that's okay. Because we can ignore them. Honestly, the flowers are such a chore to kill anyways. It's not worth your time. Not in the least bit. Really? Are you joking? And I'm curious to know if the war crimes will hurt the hand that's underneath there. Oh, it will. Let them linger in a little longer. Jeez. Feels like there's a cooldown of when they can catch on fire again. Okay. Put these handy-dandy items on. These guys drop level 7 Somber Smithing Stones. So the ones up above drop level 4. The ones in Carrying Manor drop level 2, and these ones drop level 7. Sounds like he's having a good time.
Let me out of here. Must eat more. Defile more. Everything that matters to you for generations to come. I am the Dung Eater, a scourge upon the living.
I think he's insane. Let's talk with him.
Who are you?
He doesn't recognize us, but we can tell him to leave his jail.
I've been here long enough. I will kill again. And defile each corpse with care. Just to be sure that when they're reborn, they'll be cursed. Along with their children. And their children's children. For all time to come.
Just a wee bit foreboding.
I will kill again, just to be sure they'll be cursed.
Alright, well. Let's go. I think we can go to the capital Rampart now. So he says he will kill again. Very spooky. You know what? I'm gonna put those weapons away and the talismans while I'm thinking about it. Cause I don't want them here. Don't want them anyplace. There we go. And I don't need the Lord of Blood's Exaltation. I might throw it on in the rotation at some point. But not today. Not while my nice talisman inventory is so good looking. So we're going to work our way down this direction. Trying to think of what weapon we might like to use. I'm gonna go say hi to our good friend Blackguard Bogart, because he warned us about the Dung Eater. And we're gonna see if our consequences, or if there's consequences for our actions. There probably are. Why wouldn't there be? Supposed to be a big crab around here. I want it dead. Where is it? Oh, that worked out. Now I feel safer. Much safer. Let's talk with our good buddy.
All right, mate. Want some more crab, do you? Yeah. Then now I've seen it here again. Never thought I would. What he does to those bodies. It was him. No question. That monster. He's lurking round here. Marika's
Oh no, not you. There we go. Golly.
Marika's.
Okay. I wonder if this will work. I'm curious to know if I actually needed to look at a message that Dung Eater leaves in his room in the round table hold. We'll see if this works, though. I hope so. Because the message just says, go meet me out by the moat. Oh, yep, it worked. Poor guy. Very, very poor man.
Serves me right. Fitting bloody end. For a jumped up little shit with big ideas. Help me out. Would you, mate? I don't want to get cursed. Just let me die. I don't want to live like this. Not anymore. So, please.
He may have been a brute, but he was our brute. He didn't deserve to go out like this. So he gives us Seedbed Cursed, Blackguard Spellbearing, the Iron Ball with Braggart's Roar, and the Blackguard Iron Mask. But the Dung Eater is not done with us.
I will kill you and defile your corpse. Then the pox will truly be your own.
This is for our friend. And we get the Sword of Mios, or Milos. Milos? I've always called it Mios, I think. That may not be justified without a double L. Let's take a look at it anyways. Sinister greatsword fashioned from a giant's backbone meets out wounds like a lopsided saw blade and restores some FP upon defeating an enemy, kind of like the sacrificial bird axe that we got near the start of the game in the Weeping Peninsula. Milos was undersized for a giant and was viewed as sullied and terribly grotesque. Shriek of Mios is the ability, that roar he let out at the end there, the Dung Eater. Lets out a horrific curse scream that reduces all damage negation and status resistances for nearby foes. Oh, I didn't know it did status resistances as well. I guess that, in theory, makes it bleed better. While active, strong attacks will change into a combo attack, so it's kind of like Barbaric Roar, Roar Cry, Braggart's Roar, those Ashes of War. And it is a quality weapon. I think it leans towards Dex. Yeah, that sounds about right. And let's see, our poor buddy here gave us his mask as well. Iron Mask forced on convicted prisoners, worn by the Blackguard Big Bogart. To Bogart, the mask made him all the more threatening and helped him get what he wanted, but it was also a mirror of his emptiness. I don't think the ball has anything to say, does it? Iron Manifer of spherical shape, Big Bogart, the Blackguard's weapon of choice. Not a weapon to be taken lightly, as its weighty blows shatter bones with ease. We already have two of them punching weapons in our setup, so we won't worry about this one. But unfortunately, Bogart has met a terrible fate. So we will head back to the Round Table Hold. And Ashes of War. We will strip the Ash of War off of it. Braggart's Roar. Declare your presence with a boastful roar. Raises attack power, defense, stamina, recovery speed. Of the 3 roars you can slap on things, it's my favorite. I like it the most. I like what it gives you. I like how it changes your attack patterns. But let's go see what the spirit of the Dung Eater has to say. So it seems odd that he shows up here as a red phantom, a sort of smarter spirit, still depraved, and his body is more animalistic.
There you are. You warded off my blessing, despite the curse stirring within you. No one has succeeded in that before. How? I thought. Then it hit me that you are, in fact, me. And I am the Dung Eater. It is my flesh that must receive the blessing. Give me your blessing. Defile my flesh with the seedbed curse, again and again, until it is done. Until a cursed ring coalesces that may one day defile order itself. Countless I have killed, and countless I have defiled. And soon the fruits will be born. Hundreds will be reborn cursed. And they'll bear thousands of cursed children, who bear tens of thousands more. A few of those will be born just like me. And they'll kill and defile and bless in my stead. The rotten fools. My fate was the grandest, most brilliant of them all.
So it seems that he wishes to conjure up a rune that will beget an era of perpetual rot and defilement. Mostly defilement. Freaky little bugger.
My corporeal flesh lies in the sewer jail beneath the capital. Give it your blessing. Defile my flesh with the seedbed curse, until a curse ring coalesces that may one day defile order itself.
If this was canon, I'd say no. Absolutely not.
My corporeal
Okay, that's all he has to say. Because he killed our good buddy Blackguard Bogart, who was really turning things around for himself. He saw us as a friend, and we betrayed him by not listening to his advice. Heck, Roderica even gives us very similar advice, not to interact with the Dung Eater. And the Dung Eater is kind of reminiscent of Silent Chief Yurt, I think his name was. Silly name. From Demon Souls, who, if you freed him from his cell, he would begin killing. Now, the Dung Eater seems to kill people we don't know for the most part, with the exception of Blackguard Bogart. And as a result, he is gone, Blackguard Bogart is gone, and now we have all these seedbed curses. And he wants us to use them to defile his corpse. However, if you remember way back when, we received a potion from Seluvis that we were supposed to use on Nefeli Lu. But we never gave that to Nefeli Lu. Not at all. In fact, we held on to it, and as a result, we were stuck in Seluvis' questline. So this is an alternate way it can go. So when we come in here, so the hands are missing while the Dung Eater quest is active. Probably so that he doesn't accidentally die for any reason. But he's here. It seems he's tied himself to a chair somehow.
A curse. A curse. Upon them all. They'll be born cursed. All of them. Along with their children. And their children's children. For all time to come.
So if we give him 5 or 6 seedbed curses, right, we will complete his part of the quest line, and he will give us a rune of mending, an item I will look at a future point, along with his dialogue and kind of the interaction when you give him all the seedbed curses. I'll give him 1 for now, right, but then we will administer Seluvis' potion. I don't know about you, but I'm not going to sleep well anymore. Ever again. Not ever, ever again.
Curse you, Golden was coming.
So another thing to note, he is wearing a huge sunlight medallion on his chest, right? Kind of reminiscent of Solaire, though these characters couldn't be more different from each other. The only other time I've seen a sun really mentioned in the lore of the game is, I believe the Warming Stone references that at one point in time the Erdtree's rays of light were so warm and brilliant that they actually mended people who stood in its rays. And then there is a shield you can get from just random skeletons in the world that also mentions a kingdom bathed in a sun, right? And I wonder if he has some ties to that ancient kingdom in some capacity because of his medallion, since the sun isn't really much of a venerated symbol. It's mostly a forgotten symbol in the lines between. You can make of that what you will. I don't have any theories on it because there's just not much other than that's a very tenuous connection at best. But we're going to now administer Seluvis's potion against his will.
No. Oh, yeah.
Which, by the way, administering this potion does fail the Dung Eater's quest line. But it does it in such a way that you get more rewards than if you would complete his quest line. Because we've already gotten his sword, right? And he slowly falls asleep. And he'll shudder a few more times, and then he will grow still. At least I think he does. Maybe he keeps bobbing. He's still bobbing. Anyways, we've administered the potion. And now, because we've administered the potion, we are free to do this. Which kills him, getting you his armor. Take a look at that. Take a look at that armor. Malformed helm resembling an omen with its horns cut off. Worn by the Dung Eater, its form is a version of the landscape of his mind, and his appearance as he wished to see it. At the heart of an omen without the body to match, could there be any crueler existence? What does it matter then if the curse claims it all? It's a very nihilistic thought process. Worn by the Dung Eater, the heavy sun-shaped medallion represents both the guidance he once saw and the ring to which he will one day lead. To which it will one day lead. So that rune that he was trying to construct, that we put an end to in this timeline. Let's see. Says much the same thing as the hat. Says much the same thing as the hat. Okay. But now we can go all the way to Seluvis, who we haven't seen in a bajillion years. By design. Alright, let's get to him. As I destroy everything on the way down. That wolf has gold eyes. He gets to live. Alright, there's Seluvis' tower. Let's risk it all. Oh, we lived. I didn't think we would. I thought you had to land on the thing first. On the archway. Alright, Seluvis. We gave your potion to definitely Nefeli, cough cough.
Ah, so you made Nefeli drink the potion. Well done. You are a touch more useful than I had thought. Very well. Then you shall have your gift. Knowledge of the sorcerous arts under the tutelage of the great preceptor Seluvis. I doubt much of it will lay within the grasp of a mere tarnished, but if you put your mind to it, perhaps you won't embarrass our lady. You wish to begin, right? Well?
And now we can study sorceries under him. So he gives us Carrion Phalanx, which is a bunch of swords. Carrion Retaliation as a spell. An Ice Bolt that we've seen Alberic to use, and Freezing Mist, which is a cloud of mist before the caster. Kind of better as a weapon art, honestly, but hey, you have your options. If you want to go the Frosty route, that's all there. About Nefeli.
So, you had Nefeli drink the potion? Truly?
Absolutely.
Then perhaps something was amiss with it. It's concocted from the finest ingredients, but perhaps I should review the recipe. I may have expected too much of her to begin with.
And we can now confront him about his chambers. That weird, creepy basement with all the puppets.
You break into a man's private chambers, rooting about as you please. Your oafishness knows no bounds. Fine and well. You tricked Nepheli and had her drink the potion. I believe that makes you my accomplice. You yearn for a puppet of your own, hmm? Well, normally one of your stature would never be allowed. But perhaps I can make a very special exception. Now, choose.
Alright, so he wants us to choose between Theralina and Jarrite. And we can read the descriptions. One of Seleuvis's puppets, used to summon the spirit finger maiden Theralina. We recognize her from the boss fight with Radon. She was somebody we could summon to help. And she didn't say anything to us, simply bowed and gave us an emote when we met her. So it turns out she was a puppet, probably the whole time. Spirit of a finger maiden who never met the tarnished she was meant to guide. Uses healing incantations and holy water pots, but she's not a fighter by nature and ill-suited to battle. A maiden without a tarnished without a maiden, and yet no guide to bring them together. And then Jarrite, spirit of a man who wished to become the innards of a living jar. Gross, gross, gross. A jar-hurling specialist who throws all manner of pots and jars. The warrior jar once told the nameless man this: "You are not yet ready to join the warrior inside. No, you must apply yourself. Better yourself, and one day I will return for you." Oh, I hope that's not Alexander. That's creepy. We're going to get Theralina. I like her more. We'll get all of them in time.
Begging for another lesson so soon? There remains much to be done.
Okay, I want to check on something while we're thinking about it. I want to go to his dank little basement, and I want to see if the puppet for the Dung Eater has been moved yet. Since the potion effectively turned the Dung Eater into a puppet, and we decided on him instead of Nepheli Loux, it seems like a more fitting fate. Where is he? There we go. Thinks he can hide from me, the one strange wandering noble behind the house. Okay. I don't see the Jarrite puppet. Sorry, not the Jarrite, the Omen Killer puppet. I think his body kind of glitches and doesn't show up if you kill him, but you want to kill him before allowing him to become a puppet, because that's how you get his armor. If you just let him be a puppet and not kill him, then... beforehand, I mean. Like, you can administer the potion and kill him and get the armor and he still becomes a puppet, but if you don't kill him, I think you get to see his puppet body down there. Same with Nepheli. If you give her that potion. But he's not there.
Begging for another...
Okay, so he doesn't have anything to say right now, but I believe we can quit to main menu and load in and he'll have more to tell us. Which is good, because I want to get his quest line over with.
Begging for another...
Goodness, what do we have to do? Warp? I know it takes a little bit of resetting and time to pass, essentially, before he tells us more. That wasn't a whole lot of time that passed. We'll do morning again. See that clock spin right round. Okay. And let's work our way down again. Come on, Seleuvis. We need you to do your quest thingamajig. I have content to show off. I was really hoping to get Ronnie's quest line, but this is taking its sweet time. And we haven't even gone back to the subterranean shunning grounds yet and finished that. I guess I don't have to, but I'd like to. It would mean a lot to me to get that all done. But I may be biting off more than I can chew. You'll see. All right.
Begging for another lesson.
All right, I want a new puppet already.
What's that? You want another puppet? Quite the keen paramour, aren't we? But I'm afraid each and every one is like a child to me. I can hardly just give them away. Oh dear, what's to be done? Why don't you fetch me some starlight shards? If you can manage it, I'll gladly prepare a new puppet for you. The soul of every puppet has its own ambience. You'll soon come to know once you possess a few.
Now, I think in our whole playthrough
And
we've only
once
used
each's
one starlight shard.
predilections are known
So we should
to
have
you,
plenty
the
for
better
him.
You'll be able to love them. Oh yes, you have much to look forward to further down this road.
All right, obtain a puppet. And now we can buy the Dung Eater as well as Jarite.
You're proving to be quite the puppeteer.
We have 3.
I've not had an apprentice for a very long time indeed. Begging for another
All right, about the scheme. And watch the posture of this Saluvis character.
Perhaps you'd be interested in a little scheme of mine. It will produce the finest of puppets, which I aspire to cherish with these very hands. A ploy to fool even Lady Rani. How does that sound?
Oh, it's a horrible idea. A ploy to fool Lady Rani just won't work. But we are going to do it anyways to show off the content, so we are interested.
I knew I had you pegged. You're just like me. Then I'd like you to procure something. A rather unique starlight shard that glistens with amber. With that, my special draft will gleam with nectar sweetness. And even a demigod would be slave to its charms. Procure it for me. The rather unique starlight shard that glistens with amber. With that, my special draft will gleam with nectar sweetness. And even a demigod would be slave to its charm.
Okay, so he says much the same thing. So he wants us to find the Amber Starlight Shard, which I don't think this Saluvis character is thinking very much ahead. Rani is already a puppet. She has no means by which to drink a potion. Seems like a terrible oversight for somebody so intelligent and wicked and conniving. It's a huge oversight, honestly. And I'm thinking that that might be a subtle clue to the player not to go through with it. But you can take the quest line to a certain point and then just stop and you will have gotten all the rewards. You'll have missed a little bit of dialogue, sure, but anyway, if you head this way from the Site of Grace, the junction, there's this little hole in the wall and there's a bunch of octopi and there's a one-armed lady statue hugging a small child statue. And a lot of sacramental buds, which you can use to cure rot, I believe. And a lot of octopi for some reason. It's kind of interesting that this is here, hidden, secluded, really. Let's take a look at that key item. Alright, an ephemeral sliver that gives off a pale amber glow, remains of a passing flash of starlight. If the stars command our fates, then amber-hued stars must command the fates of the gods. Such is the belief that inspired the use of these shards to prepare a most special draught. However you say it. Cannot be consumed by mere humans, so we can't eat it. But we can give it to Saluvis. And we will. Rightly so. Alright. I don't know why I keep doing that. I think it's because whenever I'm running around on a PvP character to get stuff, get my money back if I lose, or to procure an extra item, I don't have the torrent whistle bound to up on my pouch. I just go into my menu because I use it so infrequently. But I forget that whenever I have a character who's actively questing, that's where I put it. That's on me. Wasting time with menus. Not really much of a speed run, I'm afraid. Alright, Saluvis. We got you your Amber Starlight Shard.
Begging for another lesson so soon? There remains much to be done. Make it quick. Well, well. You managed to lay your hands on it.
To be fair, it's just lying there.
The blessed day is finally upon us. Goodness gracious, the way it glistens. Utterly enchanting.
He's just drooling over it at this point.
This was once a demigod's very fate. My, oh my, oh my. Ah. Are you still here?
Yes, we are.
Ah, yes, I should give you your reward. Yeah, please. It's all yours. It's splendid work. It's just marvelous.
And that is the closest Seleucus has come to praising us and being amiable to us. He gives us the magic scorpion charm. So if you want to know where to get it, this is where you get it. If you stop here, you won't piss off Ronnie.
Now just you wait. The merriment is soon to begin. The scheme I promised is to be revealed very shortly.
And we have no more puppets to be obtained.
You'll be flat. The secret I promised is to be revealed.
Okay, so he needs time. So we will teleport to Ronnie's Rise, and we'll kill some time. I don't know how much time needs to pass. I just like to pass the time to be safe. And let's go check on him again. Oh, FromSoft. Making your quest lines as convoluted as possible. How people figure this out, I don't know. You just have to retread ground, basically. And there's some places you wouldn't think to go back to retread ground in the least bit. In my opinion. There we go. Cleared it that time. Alright, Seleucus, any update?
Good. I've been waiting for you. It's finally complete. The perfection of my draft, gleaming nectar sweet. Give it to Rani and ensure she drinks it.
The Amber
The
Draft.
dead-eyed doll lets down her guard in your presence, rather remarkably. Though she might dip her hands in the dirt and feign that icy persona, she's a frail, gentle girl at heart. You understand, don't you? That once you have Rani drink my draft,
Yeah,
my
draft is how
scheme
you pronounce
will come
it.
to fruition. And
Not spelled like that at all.
well, we'll be in a position to claim the very finest puppet ever crafted. Just imagine the pure elation.
Creepy. Very creepy. But let's go piss off Ronnie. And I wouldn't recommend you do this. You don't need to. There's no reason to. You've already gotten the reward. The, talisman. The talisman carried by assassins who strike unseen, pattern on scorpion, freshly shed of its exoskeletons, claws seizing a heart that shimmers with magic, raises a magic attack power but lowers damage negation. Could be useful in PvP, or sorry, in PvE, I should say. The actual base game, the environment. Fighting other players, I believe it's a little less potent and probably not worthwhile. Anything that lowers your damage negation after, say, level 60 is probably a bad idea in terms of PvP. I try not to use Source Seals after level 60, because after that, that's when you really feel the effects of that lower damage negation. If you can get away from using them entirely, that's the recommended case. But so we're going to piss her off. We can chat with her, or we can just piss her off. Let's talk first. She has nothing to say. But let's try to administer the draft. And, yeah, I wouldn't recommend you do this, but there is a way to fix it, and I will show you that.
Well, this is a most unpleasant awakening. The depths of wickedness never fail to surprise me. I am saddened that thou wouldst succumb to such depravity. Led astray by Celavis, with devious tonic in hand. Didst thou think to have thy way with me? Begone. Hapless scum. I won't have another whiff of thy rotten breath.
So she says her breath stinks. And if we talk to her again, this is what happens.
I have spoken. Away from my sight.
And one more time.
This is the third time, fiend. Enough of thy unbearable breath.
And she says her breath stinks again. Yeah, that's right. She just kind of inclines her head and you outright die. Well, let's go make amends. To the Church of Vows. I mean, this has all happened to us at one point or another, right, lads? You make your lady angry and she inclines her head and your heart stops. And we can now atone with the Celestial Dew. We can pray for absolution. And our sins are absolved. It's that easy. Wait. Okay, we don't need any more absolution. So it used one of our Celestial Dews, and now we can go back to Ronnie, and I believe she will just simply be sleeping. Again. Come on, Mr. Elevator. We don't have time for this. I should just accept that the episode's going to be real long. Some people enjoy that. Some people look at the number and go, Egad, how could he do this to me? I trusted this fellow. Foolish you. So we can get our money back. And she is back to being inert. Teleport back to Ronnie's Rise. I'm curious to see if Sluvis has anything to say. I don't think he does. But we will see. But it is nice to know that you can get all that dialogue for the funny interaction and then just go atone for it with the Celestial Dew. Very forgiving. Honestly, it feels like the Celestial Dews are forgiving of any time you anger somebody but don't kill them. Like you accidentally hit an NPC 3 times and they turn hostile, you can undo it with that. Now, I don't know if it resurrects characters you kill. I don't think it does. I don't know where I got that thought either. I feel like I've heard it somewhere, but I don't know of its truth in any capacity. Oh, and sure, we were killed, but Saluvis was done in as well. And we get his bell bearing and his hat, so we can look at his set. Yahoo! I actually really like his hat. Kind of shame it decreases your stamina, though. Only by 10 points where we're at, but it gives us 3 points of mind, which is kind of nice. If Saluvis wasn't such an unsavory character, I would think about wearing it. Alright, large hat with the movements of the stars drawn on the inside of the brim. It has a cheat sheet. Worn by the magic preceptors who served the Carrion Royals. Increases mind to the detriment of stamina. Glintstone sorcerers are the descendants of astrologers, a fact that the Carrions remain aware of. Even if their fate has even if their fate has been long severed from the stars. And it seems that the chest, let's see, gloves are of the magic preceptors who serve the Carrion Royals, black and perfectly discreet. Yeah, so not a whole lot there. I think we get more lore when we get the alternate version. That's just his hood and mask, not the hat. So he is now dead and gone for having led us astray, but we've atoned for our mistake. So now let's head back to the depths, the underground roadside. My goodness. Nice thing, though, is that we don't have too much left here. Okay. What even to wield? I'm kind of liking the Cold Lance with the Misericord. I feel like it's doing us good. So let's sneak past these fellows one last time. And honestly, their visibility is really bad. As long as you're not crunching bones, you're doing fine. At least, except for the one by the ladder over there where you first enter. He seems to have a slightly higher sight radius. Don't worry, I did see the rat over there with gold eyes. I just don't care. Okay. Let's get our magic going. Really? That narrowly didn't kill all of them? Oh, here's a funny thing I can do. So because it's going to kill so many, watch this. We healed the mana back because it killed so many enemies. That's funny. I should probably use something a little better for close quarters. Okay. So I think we want to jump over this hole. For now. I could be wrong. Maybe we need to go that way. Maybe I need to explore more of these depths. I feel like that's the hole you want to fall down to progress. Something else died. Gave us mana. I'm not upset. This thing waves funny. I don't know if it's good for hitting things on the ground. Unless I angle the camera downward. Okay. Ooh, oh, oh, oh. I think we went the right way. There's another, though. Oh, there's so many of these omen. I'm making too much noise fighting too close to the ladder. Shucks. He can run a good deal of distance. You can't parry that, I guess. Or you can't spell parry it, at least. My goodness, give me a moment to breathe. The omens are just so mean. Really? Just a resource drain and a half. There's more to the sewers. Lots of places you can get lost, a couple bonus items. But, not a whole lot. I think I'm just gonna be showing off the path that's the good one. Okay. So we killed all the omen in here. Another one of them statues. Missing its stuff. But if we open this gate over here, we don't have to worry about that first stretch of tubes to progress. Yeah, we can just sneak by. Probably should have been wearing the crit talisman during all that fighting. Okay. Actually, I think we want to go down the other way. Yep. This is what I remember. So we hop down here. And kill that, get a somber 6 smith and stone. It's just a body here. He's just hanging out. He's not bothering anybody. We'll let him be for now. Horrible plants. Still light roll? No, not at all. That's okay. Or medium roll. The not chunky roll is what I was looking for. I don't think I have a means of doing fantastic fire damage. Which makes me think this is now just a suicide run. Alright, so what you can do is you can hop down here, and there's going to be a whole slew of basilisks and an evil death flower. Grab the item, run past everything else, run in here, grab this item. As long as you don't linger, you should be fine. They don't really do standard attacks in this game from what I remember. Not really. They mostly want to do Death Fog. Death Fog is a divinity thing. Death Blight? I think it's called Death Blight in this game. Death Fog is definitely a divinity thing. That's a different game. Are you going to do a lore through a divinity? No. Doesn't need me to. Doesn't have... It's not my special interest, we'll call it. Okay, can't open it from that side. Ooh. A little much on the Death Blight, don't you think, boys? Pop that. Get away. Oh, shucks. Maybe I do want to deal with this. Okay, I think they stopped following me, actually. Which means we are good to switch back to this bad boy. Okay. The commoner followed? That's silly. Oh, you're gonna get it next, you silly commoner. Come here. Came in here and ruined our honorable fight, and here we get the Omen Baron, which is a unique item, a rather unique item, not just in rarity, but in terms of what it do. So essentially, oh, where is it? Here it is. So it's kind of like the Wraith Calling Bell or the Ancestral Infant's Head. It is an item that consumes mana on use. And it does that thing that the Dung Eater used on us, and we also see the Omen using. Let's read its description. Doll of a Curse-born Baron. Uses FP to unleash wraiths that chase down foes. Omen babies have their horns excised, causing most to perish. These fetishes are made to memorialize them. Please don't hate me or curse me, please. Rather grim. I think we also found the ashes of a summon. Alright, let's see. A member of a tribe that was entombed in the earth so as to bury the maddening disease that followed them, able to emit the terrible flame of frenzy from his eyes, but has low HP and is frail, unable to take much in the way of punishment. So it's a nomad who is afflicted with frenzy by the looks of it. Alright, let's continue here. So we are almost back to the Grace. This big, long, looping path. Isn't there supposed to be an imp here? I feel like there's normally an imp here. Maybe it died. It fell off at some point. I see lots of other imps. Huh, curious. But we can now open this up, which is just immediately across from our beloved Site of Grace. And we can sneak and rest up, which is very nice. Alright, let's get back to it. We have a sewer to conquer. Okay, the Omen are far away, so we can sneak by. Yeah, here's the guy I was talking about, this imp. I guess he had somehow gotten himself killed. Very peculiar. But that critical talisman's very helpful. And, knock some of these fellows off. The pipe, because we don't want to put up with them if we can help it. Get some easy backstabs. Somebody else is throwing stuff at me, though. I feel it. I feel it in my health bar. Alright. Alright, I guess he gets to just fall off then. I mean, he is more than allowed to do that. Free country and all that. Alright. Oh, I got aim punched. I missed both of them as a consequence. I hate so when you get so many imps. It's the worst. Alright, that's okay, because we have a means to get our resources back. Save as much as we can. Though it's not the end. So there's the omen we fought below, where we got the Omen Baron. Kick down this ladder, so we now have a shortcut for that. So we can ignore the imps in the future. So when you jump down to this pipe, if you go forward, this is the correct path. We're going to go the incorrect path for a moment, just to get some of our resources back. I feel like running the punchy fists. Sounds goofy. There we go. Trying to remember if there's anything down any of these silly paths. Well, there's the beals that we heard before. Get a smith and stone. Is there somebody attacking me, or was it an imp on the outside of the tube? It could have been an imp on the outside of the tube. You know how imps and tubes are. Warming stone. This horrid, horrid place. I don't even need to kill this stupid thing, but I'm gonna do it anyways. Okay. Okay. I think we're good to head back this way. Is there anything even up here? Here's an item. Get out of my way. I have a tube system to get lost in. Honestly, that's all it's designed for. I'm just checking for stuff. I shouldn't be. Alright. Yeah, just some high-level smithing stones. So it's kind of worth investigating. There's a little piece of candy. A little light at the end of the tunnel. I think we go back through here. I'm probably turned around. Somebody's yelling at their monitor. I know the correct... Ah, it was the correct way. Okay. So now what you do, if you want to continue moving forward and to make progress in this dungeon, you grab this, but then you go down the side path over here. There's a little rat. The other tube has a big rat. And you want to hop down this hole here. Ooh, I got backstabbed. I usually turn around in time for him, I suppose. He's just so angry at being cooped up here for so long. There's no real reason to open this other than to make invaders more agitating. Gives them more places to go. Ignore that, my cat was trying to get in front of my monitor. Very rude of him. Especially while I'm recording. Hopefully that wasn't too unsightly of a noise, but I suppose we'll find out. Just busting pots. Oh dear. Ah. There we go. Punch the pot to death. That's what we did. Get another ritual pot. How many of those are we at anyways? I forget. Alright. Where do we get our final ritual pot? Or am I missing it somewhere? Oh, that's gonna bug me. I don't remember where it's at. That's okay. I don't think there's two in that room. I think there's just the one. I'll look it up later. It's not so important. We don't use them that often. We just like to have them. But it looks like I have all of the small size pots at least. I know by the time you're done with Lanedale, you should have all of the pots, so I've just likely missed it somewhere. Maybe it was in that crazy dungeon. Okay. So if you haven't dealt with the Dung Eater at this point, but you've done part of his questline, I believe he can help you with this boss up here. But we won't worry about that so much. However, I have his puppets, so now he can help us anyways. It's kind of funny. If you were on New Game Plus, you could, in theory, do it in such a way that you can bring the Dung Eater to help you, and then summon a Dung Eater to help you. Which is very silly. But it would work. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to think of any other preparations I could do. Not really. I mean, a couple little helps would be nice. I don't know if I'll be able to do this boss in one try. I'd like to. Well, I went the long way when it came to putting on those items. I should really summon the Dung Eater first. Come on, buddy. Ooh, those lethargic swings. Ooh. I'm gonna be really bad at that. So you can parry his spells. God, I am gonna be horrible at that, aren't I? Oh. But that's what this is for. Ooh. Oh, you can parry that. Spell parry, I mean. I'm flubbing all my inputs. But Dung Eater's taking it like a champ. But it looks like we're doing pretty well. But he's wearing something that looks like the Sanguine Noble outfit. Oh, I wasn't close enough to help with that one. Dung Eater almost ate it. But he's a pretty beefy boy, even at just +6. And he does bleeds. He has AoE projectiles. He'll lower the defenses of your enemy if they're vulnerable to that. And we get Blood Flame Talon. So let's read that thing's description. Why not? It is an incantation. A Blood Oath incantation granted by the Lord of Blood creates blood flame lacerations before the caster, which explode in an instant. This incantation can be cast repeatedly. After dealing damage, blood flame continues to build up onset of blood loss for a very short period of time. Okay, that's funny. I released a PvP video recently where that very thing happened, where I hit somebody with a Blood Flame Talon, hit them with 2 R1s with a bleed sword, and then there was a 4th hit that was the bleed occurring after a short period of time. Relatively short, enough to make it look like an invisible 4th hit. So we have this grace. We are done with the subterranean shutting grounds, essentially. I will look a little farther, because there is a little bit more. Not much for us, though. We open this up, and we get the Erdtree's Favor +1. It's an upgrade. Yeah, so it gives us another almost 60 points of health. And another 6 equip load. It's very nice. And you can smack this sucker, and this lowers. So it seems that that Mog, Lord of Blood, which that can't be the real one. Why would Vari be worshipping somebody who's stuck underground? But we hear a sad string instrument being played. And we see caravanners, like the merchants we've seen in the lands between, wearing rags, frozen in place, their instruments and their bows. And it is sealed by Morgoth the Gracegiven. So we have another seal that we cannot move past. In fact, I think on my next fight, I'm going to use the Nomad. But I should probably equip another one so I don't forget. Like their Alina as well. There we go. Fill up that awful bar. Alright. Well, we have a little bit of time. Or I could cut here. We'll go forward for a bit. Why not? So now we are going to head underground to the Knight's Sacred Ground. We could summon him for this part just to see what he's like. I forgot we could summon people here. Come on, buddy. Get him. Let's see what he does. Oh boy, does he shamble. Come on. Nothing? Really? Oh, he inflicted them with frenzy. He'll just keep doing that, doesn't he? I guess if he gets started, it's kind of random chance how much damage he does. He does not have a lot of health, though. Not the best summon, but interesting, lore-wise. I guess I'll leave him to play with them. Let's come in here to one of these big old chair statue things. We saw one in Celia, and there's one down here, so there's definitely a connection between Celia and the ancient cities, or the eternal cities. So we get the Finger Slayer Blade and a Great Ghost Glovewort. So let's look at those. So the Great Ghost Glovewort. Since times of old, large gloveworts were used to comfort heroic spirits, given in tribute to those who died the most glorious of deaths, in the hopes their stories would become legend. And then we also got the Finger Slayer Blade. The hidden treasure of the eternal city of Nokron, a blade said to have been born of a corpse, gross. This blood-drenched fetish is proof of the high treason committed by the eternal city and symbolizes its downfall. Cannot be wielded by those without a fate, but it is said to be able to harm the greater will and its vassals. And if we look closely at it, it looks very much like a body that's been twisted. So the handguard is kind of like the shoulder blades and the spine. You can see crossing the handguard, and then it looks like down by the bottom might be a twisted set of legs, and then just the upper head has been malformed into that blade. Yeah, it's very grotesque. Very yucky. But now we are going to head to Lady Ranni because we finally have that Finger Slayer Blade. And as a fun bit of trivia, if you give Lady Ranni the Finger Slayer Blade before completing Seluvis' questline, Seluvis will die. Getting the Finger Slayer Blade to Ranni kills Seluvis. No, we finish Seluvis' questline, which Ranni kills him anyways, so. Kind of a funny thing to happen there. But we can work our way all the way up here and give her a chatting to.
Ah, it was thee, not blithe it seemeth. Even in my slumber I sensed it. It is in thy possession, is it not? The hidden treasure of Nokron. My thanks. Finally all the pieces are in place. Soon must I begin my journey. Upon the dark path only I may tread. Ah, but before I leave, I must entrust thee with this. Take it.
And this is the item you use to complete Fia's quest line, actually. It's very necessary for that. the Carrion inverted statue. So if you remember the Carrion study hall way back when, how stuff seemed to be strange there, we can bring this there to basically unlock the second half of that dungeon.
Upon which is carved the curse mark of thy desire. I can fathom what thy purpose might be. Neither of us is welcomed by the brighter path. I see. You may leave now. It was but brief, but thou gavest me fine service.
So I accidentally skipped a piece of her dialogue in my haste, and I'm going to pull it up here. And let me see what she said. I apologize for that. This feels like the easiest way to bring it up. And Gerslayer. Okay. Okay, let's see. So she says, "Ah, it was thee, not blithe, that seemeth, even in my slumber I sensed it. It is in thy possession, is it not, the hidden treasure of Necron? My thanks, finally, all the pieces are in place. Soon must I begin my journey upon the dark path only I may tread." And then she says, "Ah, before I leave, I shall entrust thee with this. My thanks for thy sterling efforts. A strange gift, perhaps, but a rare sort as thee would welcome it, I am sure. I am certain now, fate steered us to a reunion?" Maybe I read a little too far. Yeah, Torrent 2 for his part. No, I didn't read too far. "You may leave now. It was but brief, but thou gavest me fine service. What is it? You may go. I, too, am to depart on a journey upon the dark path only I may tread."
What is it? Thy purpose in approaching me was to obtain the curse mark, was it not? You may leave now. I, too, am to depart on a journey.
Okay, so she says a little extra because we did the quest line for our good dear Rogier. Okay, so now, actually, I am curious to know. I believe if we could quit the main menu and load back in, something will have changed. Yep, she's gone, and we actually have a little site of grace up here. Kind of cute how it appears. Especially since the bottom of each grace is a little pile of roots or whatever, so it's almost like part of the great tree finally broke through to create that grace or something. Kind of wacky. Yeah, alright, so let's head down. And we have folks to visit. More folks. So Saluvis is already gone, we know that much. But there's somebody else with puppets of their own we could go visit. We will do exactly that. And then we will go say hi to Iji, and then I think we will follow Ronnie. Can't speak. We will follow Ronnie on her quest for a bit. Alright, so you kind of come up to this cliff until you see the blue beetle. That's your sign for where you can go down.
Stop, please stop. You're my puppet. I loved you with all I have. How could
you forget such bliss? I jumped down too fast and it cut off his dialogue. And sure enough, we see Pedia here. And he is killed by his own puppets. So it makes me wonder, did Ronnie actually kill Saluvis? Or was Saluvis just another puppet? When we looked at Saluvis' body, he was hunched backwards awkwardly like a marionette whose strings have been cut. And Pedia here bleeds out and dies properly, unlike Saluvis. And it seems at the hands of his own puppets, the Rhea Lucarian soldiers. So we get his bell bearing as well as Dolores the Sleeping Arrow puppets. So that'll be yet another summon for us to test out. Kind of interesting. Let's read the description for her. Did we read his? Maybe not. See, she never met the tarnished. He throws pots. Spirit of a man who murdered thousands and defiled their corpses with the seedbed curse wields a spine greatsword and hurls curses. The dung eater despaired at how he met his end, how hideous and sinister his puppet is, and yet its utter despair invites one to care for it. I doubt that. Nomad ashes. Let's see. Able to admit the terrifying flame of frenzy from his eyes, but has low HP and is frail, unable to take much in the way of punishment. And it seems we saw the beginning of that entombed tribe that Morgoth put up the barrier for. Dolores, the sleeping arrow puppet, spirit of a handsome archer who dressed in the style of a man, called the Silent Hunter by some. She fires St. Trina arrows from her short bow. Dolores once belonged to the Round Table Hold, where she was both a critic and a friend of Gideon the All-Knowing. It was because of her that he and Seluvis went their separate ways. Interesting. And sure enough, Gideon is aware of the potion and what it might do when we bring it to him. Okay. Let's talk to E.G. And see what he has to say about this journey we were going on.
Oh, there you are. Good of you to drop by. Have you heard? Lady Rani has departed on her journey. Along the dark path of the Empyrean, from Rena's Rise, as she calls it. It would not have been possible without you. As Lady Rani's war counselor, and moreover, her childhood warden, I express my deepest gratitude. You and only you were Lady Rani's true champion.
So he seems very happy with us for that. And he tells us that she has departed down the dark path through Rena's Rise. We've seen Ronnie's Rise, and we know Seluvis' Rise, and we know there's a third tower on that plateau behind Caria Manor. So perhaps she has escaped through that third tower, and it no longer has its magic barrier blocking it. Let's chat with E.G. some more.
My purpose is nearing its end. I've served Lady Rani for as long as I can remember. It has been a long and wondrous journey. Now Lady Rani is in your hands.
Okay.
I pray that you serve her well, unto the very end.
I think that's all he has to say.
Lady Rani, along the now Lady...
So the path of the Empyrean. Where have we heard that word before? Well, we've heard about that from the Raging Wolf set. Vargram's nickname comes from the White Wolf's main... Oh, wait, hold on. That's not it. What was I thinking of? According to the old legends, wolves are the shadows of the Empyrean, and this is what Vargram aspired to be. And now she, Rani, is going down that dark path to be an Empyrean. What is an Empyrean in the context of Elden Ring? That is a word we'll need to keep an eye out for. And since wolves are meant to be the shadows of the Empyreans, does that make Blythe the shadow to Rani? Curious. Okay. I think we are good to head through to up here to the boss room of Caria Manor as I get all sorts of turned about. And we will head this way. And sure enough, there is an opening now. It is no longer protected by a magic barrier. So let's get up here. And I think we will cut the episode real soon. Don't you worry. The Snow Witch hat and the Snow Witch robe. It's Ronnie's set, essentially. Let's take a look at what it says. Witch's pointed hat, frigid and frozen through, of a style associated with the practitioners of heretical sorcery. Strengthens cold sorcery. Once worn by the snowy crone who the young Ronnie encountered deep in the woods, she was a witch and well versed in cold sorceries. It is said that the doll that houses Ronnie's soul was modeled after her. That old witch was Ronnie's secret mentor. And it looks like it says much the same thing for all the pieces. So, who is this Rena figure? Ronnie uses her name briefly when we first meet her at the behest of Torrent's old master to give us the spirit calling bell, right? Was Rena that old witch, or is Rena somebody else? Given that Rena was met, or sorry, that the old snow crone was met in the woods, it makes me doubt that she had her own Carrion Tower, but maybe the Carrions built it for her because she was tutoring Ronnie. And here we have a massive set of falls. We are now up here in the Ansel River well, so we are finally in the other portion, and we have a path to Necron. Finally. And lots of silver fireflies. So over here, sitting in a casket, we find a miniature Ronnie. That seems weirdly coincidental. A doll resembling Ronnie the Witch. From head to toe, every detail is perfect. This unresponsive doll seems pleasantly cool, so it's emanating a coolness. Kind of odd. Okay. Well, I think we will stop here for now. That was a very long episode 98. Thank you for joining me. My goodness. I hope that in episode 99 we can finish off both Ronnie and Fia's quest line, though that might be also way too big of a bite to take. But I still thank you for joining me anyways. We'll see you next time, and bye-bye.